Hi, this is Trevor Cook, and over the next few minutes I'd like to give you a high-level view of what Managed Specialist Devices is all about. There seems to be a lot of misunderstanding of what we can provide, and yet this is one of the simplest solutions we have in our kit bag. But first of all, what do we mean by specialist devices? These are the devices that are considered rugged. In other words, they're toughened at manufacture, they're designed to bounce, and most of them will operate in wet or hazardous conditions. What they aren't is a standard consumer device like an iPad with an OtterBox case or something similar. These solutions can help protect consumer tablets from light damage, but at the end of the day they just aren't rugged enough for most of these applications. More importantly, from our point of view, we all get paid for selling the stuff on the left, but not the stuff on the right. So who uses these kind of devices? Well, there are several key industries and sectors where these are used. In the retail sector, they're predominantly used on the shop floor or in the warehouse for things like stock control. In the postal and logistics sector, they're used for confirming the location of parcels and finally gaining that proof of delivery, so the sender knows they've actually delivered on time. In the field service sector, the devices are used for many things, including getting new jobs, reporting back on completed jobs, ordering new stock for the engineers' vans, location tracking, and some of them will even have a lone worker protection application. And lastly, they're heavily used in hazardous working environments, such as in the utility sector and the oil and gas industries, where you wouldn't think of using a normal smartphone like an iPhone. So what do we offer? Well, yes, we sell the devices. In fact, we can sell most of the ranges from Honeywell Intermec, Motorola and Panasonic. This one is a Honeywell device. Most of the devices contain the guts of a simple Android or Windows smartphone, and so operate in the same way as any consumer phone. Therefore, they are also open to the same abuse. That's if they're not controlled by either a traditional device manager solution or through the core line of business application. We can also offer staging, or in other words, preloading of the device with various apps, or pre-configure the device. Most customers wouldn't expect their engineers to configure these devices in the same way that the customer would expect their office workers to self-configure iPhones and the like. We can offer break-fix services, offer stock, and extended warranties. For example, if your iPhone breaks, it's an annoyance. If your specialist device stops working, then your engineers don't get their jobs and your couriers can't deliver their parcels. These solutions are truly mission critical and therefore need a high level of service in this area. We also offer help desk and project manager services that help the customer set up the whole managed service and deliver the devices to their users and then act as a point of contact when things go wrong. Additionally, we can provide service management and general reporting around these. As well as the devices, we can provide accessories such as portable printers and car kits. And finally, if the customer needs job scheduling, tracking or another remote worker line of business app, then we have several partners that can provide this. But I'll cover these off in a different session. So, we can provide the kit, but why would anybody want to buy an expensive rugged device over a consumer device? Well, that's simple. You start using consumer devices for anything other than basic communication and collaboration, the risk of the device being dropped and wearing out, and yes, don't forget consumer devices don't last more than a couple of years, then the total cost of ownership can be huge. VDC research suggests that the total cost of ownership of consumer smartphones used in these environments could be 40% higher than using rugged devices. And with the top-end smartphones now similar cost to a rugged device of around about £500 to £600, the TCO could be even higher. So what about competition? Well, unfortunately, there's lots of rugged device sellers out there. However, very few of them resell the devices with a managed service wrap. Even if they do, the wrap is very basic. Remember, we live and breathe this type of service. So why not let us treat these devices in the same way as we service any other mobile device? Many customers are now looking to reduce vendors and vendor management costs. If you already have a contract, then we could easily add this to an existing local contract, therefore reducing the existing supplier of devices. If you don't have a mobile contract with your customer, then this is actually the best way of getting your foot in the door, as many of these kind of services are not directly managed by the traditional mobile procurement or IT teams. I won't go too much into the cost model now, as you can discuss this with your managed mobility team contact, but based on the existing business, the typical TTV value of these deals is €1,000 per user. So what next? As I said earlier, these devices and the services around them tend to be managed through your customers' operations teams, and it is not usually that they're managed through the traditional IT or procurement contacts. However, to get us started, there are some simple questions that you can ask. These are, firstly, who manages the field force teams within your customers? In other words, who gains the operational benefits from these teams having the best service rep? The next is, who is directly impacted by their efficiency? And so this is who gets the business benefits as opposed to the operational benefits from this team, and ultimately who suffers if this team doesn't perform well. The third question I would suggest is who currently provides them with their rugged devices? If we can find out who provides them, we then know what that vendor's capabilities are, and therefore we'll know how to best approach the customer. And finally, how do they currently manage the operational support of their devices? If we can find out what they're used to, then we can basically work out what the added value is that we can provide. And finally, if you think you have an opportunity, then come and see us at the Managed Mobility Sales Team. Get an opportunity on Salesforce as quickly as you can with the approximate value, and you can do this by adding the opportunity detail, select the UK as the country, and then use the product name Managed Specialist Devices, and that will get it on the system, and we can start working with you to actually close a deal. I hope you found this useful, and thank you very much for your time.